the pandemic was raging in Wuhan, and nobody knew exactly how bad it was going to be. And I knew that if anybody is going to have the toughest time with a pandemic, it's going to be the one where it started. Because as soon as you know it exists, from that point on, you can prepare yourself. China was the place where it did not exist, and then suddenly it existed.
It was blindsided.
It was, and they had to create laws, they had to create systems, they had to create, they had the genome and all of this stuff.
They had to figure out what it was.
They had to figure out what the hell it was, And so as it was raging around the end of January, my daughter is kept in her house. She can't go out and play. We're all under these restrictions, and I'm like, we had just traveled to America earlier, so they all had their 10-year visas, so there was no paperwork issue. And so I was like, hell, why don't we just get out of here? Let's just go to America. I mean, I'm not a medical professional. There's a lot of people like, you abandoned China in their time of, you are a quitter. There's a lot of people that actually said that, which I thought was crazy. Listen, it's like if there's a tragedy, the people that are taking care of that tragedy are going to say, if you're not involved in a tragedy, get away from it so that we can take care of the problem. And I was like, well, let's just leave China and just see how it goes. We'll go to, you know what? You know who's going to take care of this real well? America. So let's go back to America. And so I went to America, and
this is January, right?
This is February 2nd, the day Trump had his quote. I'm literally making quote singles with my finger travel ban, which was total. Can I swear a little bit?
Yeah, you can swear.
It was
all
total bullshit. I left China on February 1st, and with my daughter and my wife, and we flew to O'Hare. O'Hare was the hub for the travel ban.
Yeah.
And so I videotaped the whole thing. I was sharing daily videos because I thought it was important. It was very pertinent. Yeah. And so I landed in O'Hare, and me and Annie, my wife, we had our masks on the plane. My wife was like, "Don't eat any in-flight meals. Keep that mask on your face." And so we landed in O'Hare, and then when we got out, we were all speculating. Okay, I hope Trump lets us in. We hadn't been to Wuhan, so we've got that. We're ready to answer questions, and we got X and Y. If Y happens to Z, and blah blah blah. Then we walk in, and nothing.
It's like normal.
It was, we walked in, there was no hazmat suits, there was barely any masks. The only masks were from us on the plane, other Chinese people who were like, oh, this is going to be serious. And so we walked in, when you go through the customs check and you're kind of like, you're waiting in line, it's snaking. There was one of these TV screens that was up hanging from the ceiling, and it had a rolling still image, warnings. Don't forget to grab your belongings, blah, 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 just stupid stuff. And one of the 5 screens that were showing every 10 seconds or so was if you've been to China been to Wuhan within the last 15 days, self-quarantine, if you can. It was if you want, honor code. And then we went up to the checkout guy and the customs guy, and he was a ABC, American-born Chinese, or ABA, American-born Asian, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "We haven't been to Wuhan in 15 days." I'm like
you're ready for like the Spanish Inquisition here.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, your daughter? Oh, my daughter's the same age." I'm like, "Cut the bullshit. Yeah. You're a really nice guy." But you guys don't understand what's we flew away because we thought I was looking forward to some serious consequences.
Serious draconian shit.
Right. I was ready for it. It's what you need to do in a pandemic. Mm-hmm. So when we left, we weren't encouraged to quarantine. We weren't encouraged to anything. We literally got an Airbnb for 15 days right adjacent to the airport, and we ordered Amazon food deliveries for the whole 15 days. We did that voluntarily. There was nobody that told us. I didn't want to bring COVID to my family. It was asymptomatic. We knew that by then. So the long story to tie together, I flew back. We stayed in America for like a month until March 23rd, and we flew back to China because we were like, oh my God, China's treating this with the respect it deserves, and America just doesn't even doesn't even give a shit. It's going to be horrible. And tragically, I was confirmed, in a lot of ways. I mean, every day is just like a mass casualty event on a huge scale. And so you ask like politics and stuff and these stories that I shared, and I was like, the barrier that I had erected around my political opinions and my cultural and sociological opinions on the world, it was too thick. And I felt like I'm like, people need to know the world that I see. Maybe I'm not right. I'll always say, you give me new information, I will concede. But there was so many things that I'm like, oh my God, the world needs to know. The world needs to see China. World needs, so I started opening up and making more political slanted videos and more like, China's doing this right. I don't say China's doing this right, because China's perfect. I'm saying China's doing this right. Why don't Why don't we start to do that China thing that's right? If America was doing something right in a circumstance, I'd say that too,